right, there we go. We're live. Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus, episode 324, subset of a subset. Okay, hang on to your butts. We're going to talk about numbers. If you sell in series, if you write books in a series, then the statement, everyone buys the first book, is your foundation, the foundation from which you'll work. Because all your advertising efforts, all your marketing efforts are going to be to get that first book into as many people's hands as possible so you can get that read through and the buy through and see where you go from there. Because selling a series is cool, one-click series buy, always good money. But that leads to a subset of a subset. If you have a magnificent 90% read through from book 1 to book 2, and then book 2 to book 3 and so on, every follow-on purchase is 90%. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? So if you have a 90% read through from book 1 through a book 10, how many people who read book 1 actually read book 10? Come on, do the math. Well, you don't have to. I did it for you. And it comes out to 3.874. So 4 people are reading your book 10. And that's with a 90% read through from book 1 to book 2, which is actually insane. It's insanely good. But if you can get that, then more power to you. But only 4 people, well, hell, is that last book worth it? Because it's only 4 people are buying it. Am I making any money? Let's do the math. So you look at that read through, 90%, and I gave her the cutout of this. So what you see is that if you have 100 people buy the first book at $4.99 and a 90% read through, by the end of that, you will have made $3,250 of that series, 10-book series at $4.99 with a 90% read through. What's the important number there is that $3,250. So that's pretty much what, if you sell a single book 1, and with a 90% read through, you're getting $3,250 per book. You see how that math works with the 100, and then you put out the new books. So it gives you a lot of latitude for marketing, for what is your stop, I'll get there. But what is your value for that first book, and how much can you pay in a cost per click? So what else am I going to go through? What is a 50% read through, and then what is a 10% read through? So hang on there, Diana, hang on. If you have a 50% read through, you have, let's see, it is a little over 2 people reading book 10 if you have a 50% read through from book 1 to book 2, but then a 90% read through after book 2. So it's that 1 to 2 is always the biggest gap, unless you do something fanatical, like kill a dog in book 3. Well, then your read through from book 3 to book 4 is going to drop way off, things like that. But as long as you are consistent in your story, so 1 to 2, 50%. So at the end of 10 books, you will have made $2,027 for 100 purchases of book 1. So not too bad. That puts you in the $20 realm for a sale of a book 1. Every sale of book 1 is worth $20. How about that, huh? And if you have a 10% read through from book 1 to book 2, by the end of book 10, if you have 90% then from books 2 to 3 and 3 to 4, then it'll be $804 is what you'll earn. That's still, for 100, that's $8 a copy on book 1 with a 10% read through, and this is far more realistic. And now if you run 99-cent deals, if you run free, that dynamic changes rather significantly. On free books, I'm looking for a 1%. So I need to give away 100 copies for that one person to then read through. And that's what I'm counting on if they read through then to book 2. And if you have a 10% read through rate, if one person reads book 1, well, then you need to give away 1,000 to get one person to read book 2. Okay, those numbers are pretty extreme. So that's why I'm a big fan of the 99-cent sale, because it's much, much more likely that somebody will read that book 1 and then go to book 2. And if I can get people to read book one, I'm cool with on mine about 50%. That's generally what I'm getting. Higher in some series, and this is, let's go to a subset of a subset. You have a series that's been successful, and then a spin-off series or a backup series. If it depends on that first series, now it's a subset of a subset. So now you're picking up where book 10 left off. But you've got fanatical readers and fans at that point. Can you make it a new entry point into your series? And this is important. If it's a new entry point, make sure that book one has all the information that somebody would need, the background information from book one. That's important, because then new entry point, you can get people in there and then go back to your first series. So otherwise, it remains a subset of a subset. You're only going to sell, even if you get 100%, it's now those 4 readers of book 10 with a 90% read through, and less than 1 reader if you only had a 10% read through from book 1 to book 2 in that first series. Because a lot of people love their series, they love their universe, and they want to carry on, but they have that first book was written 10 years ago and is not anywhere near as good as book 10, because, hey, you learn so much, because practice makes perfect, right? Never perfect. Practice makes good enough, and practice makes better. So you write that follow-on series, which is magnificent, but you count on a lot of stuff from that first series. You're getting a subset of a subset. Make sure that first book in a follow-on series or a spin-off can stand alone enough that people aren't totally confused and will have a great time with your new and better writing style. So what this doesn't take into account is, out of those 100 people that read book 1, this is, you got them on your newsletter, now you own them, you can contact them. It doesn't take into account continual marketing. So if you keep pushing book 1, especially if you have newer books, nothing sells the first book like the latest book. Binge readers, you start bringing more people on. So you see a growth over time where you might do nothing and all of a sudden you have 100 sales in a week because you published a new book in the series. So that's it. That's now you're changing the dynamic of the subset by continuing to publish in that series, as long as book 1 is good enough. And that good enough, go to your calculations. How many people are reading book 2 after reading book 1? If book 1, if you're getting less than 10% on full price sales, then you got issues with book 1. So reevaluate, look at your subset of a subset. Are you making enough money to make it worth your while to publish new volumes? If you only had a 10% read through and you're only making $8 for every person, that's still pretty good, because even at a 50-cent cost per click, you could do 16 clicks to break even. If you have a conversion rate higher than that, then you might want to rethink it. You want to get that conversion rate down to 10 to 1, maybe 5 to 1, and then you'll be money in the bank. There it is, subset of a subset, a lot of numbers. Anna's going to copy those in, copy the notes in to the video, and Bob's your uncle. Peace, fellow humans.